Hi guys, welcome to my very first ever Facebook Live. I would like to apologize in advance for my newness to this, but I'm excited to be here. So first of all, I want to say welcome. I'm so glad you were in this group, and I can't believe that just in a period of a few short days, this group has grown from 0 to 60, and I'm honored and blessed to have you here because I know that you're here for a reason, and it's because that you have a teenage daughter who is struggling with social anxiety. As I said in a couple of posts, this topic is very, very near and dear to my heart and has organically become one of the biggest challenges that teens face that come through my office. So today I'd like to share a little bit about what I do, who I am, but I'm not going to bore you with those details. I'm absolutely positive that as we get to know each other a little bit, I'll be able to share a bit about who I am. But the bottom line is I'm here because being a teenager was extremely hard for me. I had a rough time, and I felt like I had to go through everything that I went through all by myself. So when I was offered the unique opportunity to work with teenage girls, and I said yes, it was really interesting what happened. Everything that I had been through as a young person started to make sense because I was able to offer real life, real advice from my heart and my experience to these girls that I was mentoring. So that's a pretty happy day. I've been working with teens since 1999, and I know 100% that as long as I'm here, I will be doing this work. So thank you for having me. Welcome. Today we're going to discuss what maybe it is that you're going through as a mom or a dad of a teenage girl who struggles with social anxiety. But I'd also like to touch on what it's like to be a teenage girl with social anxiety. I'm sure your daughter shares some of the information with you, but I have a really unique perspective as a life coach to be able to share case studies and stories and things that go on in my office with you, which might be a different perspective. So I know that as a parent, I 100% know this, I walk this, I'm raising my own children. The worst thing ever is to worry about them and to worry about their health and well-being and their happiness. There's really, I don't think anything more important than that. So I know you're worried, and that's why you're here. So I just want to honor you for that. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Tina. Thank you. I would like to start by saying that if you're worried, you're in the right spot. I think that the worries that I hear most from parents that I work with are, how do I get her out of her room? How do I get her to go to the parties that she is actually invited to, but she doesn't seem to think that she's wanted? I hear her crying in the shower. How do I talk to her about that? I think she doesn't really want me to know that I'm sad. Or how do I get her to go to school? Mornings have turned into this huge battle, and I don't know if I push her or if I comfort her. As a parent, that one's really tough. How do I get her to stay at a friend's house when she's calling me and telling me she wants to come home early because she's just not doing well? All these problems, all these worries that are on your mind, I want to honor you for that, and I know that it's tough. And it actually can get better. I'll talk about that in a second. As a teenage girl, I think that the biggest thing that they feel when they come into my office or work with me online is just this intense sense of relief, because I don't think there's anything more lonely than struggling with social anxiety. What social anxiety does is it separates us from the one thing that we want most in the entire world, which is connection with other people. So when girls come into my office, or if I talk to them online, I just sense first that they're relieved, that they have somebody who's there, somebody who's not going to judge them, and they're willing to share some pretty amazing things with me because of that. So it's a neat place to be. But being a teenage girl with social anxiety feels like the most isolating, painful thing in the world. Even when you're surrounded by people, you feel alone. Walking through the halls, you feel like nobody even sees you, that you're almost completely invisible. And even if you do have friends, if you're the lucky one and you're a girl who has social anxiety and she does have a group of friends, you're constantly in your head and you're doubting whether or not they're your true friends or if they even really want to be around you. Girls I talk to use words to describe themselves like awkward, annoying, stupid, a loser. These things that, even though from my adult perspective, I can almost guarantee that there are friends that love them and cherish them and don't think any of those things about them. But that's the tricky curse of social anxiety is it makes you believe that you are stupid or an outcast or nobody wants to be around you. And so these girls after school, if they do make it through the day, will just go home and retreat and try to recover. And what tends to happen is then they will watch the rest of the world go on and go about their lives on social media, which is a unique type of pain for a girl. If you don't feel like you're wanted or welcome at these social events, and then you go home and you're by yourself in your bedroom and you turn on your phone and you flip through Instagram and you see everybody, you feel like everybody in the world at a party or at a football game or cheering or having fun or acting stupid or jumping off waterfalls and going swimming or having pizza or whatever these people are doing. It almost doesn't even matter. It's the fact that they're doing something and she is not, and she's at home alone in her bedroom. So very quickly, I see girls who aren't being helped in this area fall into depression and even deeper into anxiety because it's just such a lonely state. I mean, I think we can all admit that that's really what we want in this world, is to be known, to be seen, to be valued, and to be loved, and to have these connections with other people. So I take this very seriously. When a girl comes to me and she's struggling with social anxiety and she's lonely and she's sad, I take it so seriously. So, and I know you do too. Okay, I see that, thank you. Yeah, if you want to private message me is another thing. I'm getting some messages. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those questions, but if you just want to listen, that is fine too. Okay, so what I do in my office, I've been working with girls in a private practice setting since 2011, and I would say about 8 out of the 10 girls that come across my door struggle with social anxiety. I've had some amazing success stories. I just want to share a brief bit about one of them with you today. I'm going to call this girl Molly to protect her privacy, but Molly came to me as a freshman in high school, and she was so shy and in such a big shell that she didn't talk to anybody. She would go to school. During the day, she would not talk to anybody at lunch. She would eat in the hallway. She would avoid social situations. She wouldn't raise her hand in class. And her mom called me because she was frustrated. She didn't understand why it was so hard. Molly is smart. Molly could probably answer every question that the teachers asked, but Molly just wouldn't. So talking to Molly, I quickly realized that she is struggling with some shyness and some social anxiety. And so we started working with some practical tools to help her reframe her thinking and get her kind of out of that negative mindset where she worries about everybody looking at her and judging her all day long, and then pushing her to just go out of her comfort zone a tiny little bit every day. And then she would come back into my office and tell me how those things were going. My office was a safe place for her to land and talk about the hard stuff, and just know that no matter what she had to tell me, that I wouldn't judge her. So slowly over time, Molly began to gain confidence because she had accountability through me, support through her parents, and new tools through me. But it was a magical combination, and she was able to grow, and it wasn't an overnight process, but I worked with her for several years. But at the end of about 3 months, she was almost unrecognizable at home. Her mom called me and told me that she's laughing more, she's less worried. She even raised her hand and answered a question in class, and she had somebody coming over from her cross-country team that weekend to do some studying. So I know that there's probably parents out there right this second that know that inviting someone over to your house to study for a girl who was so completely in the social isolation of social anxiety, that's a huge major step. Fast forward a couple of years, we were able to focus less on social anxiety and more about helping Molly find her voice. And I get chills when I think about it, because this girl, this tiny little girl that came into my office and wouldn't make eye contact with me, wouldn't answer my questions, would just say, I don't know, if I asked her something, blossomed into this woman who was excited about social change. So her voice was found, her voice was recognized. She started a human rights group at our school that in turn led a march down at our city hall, gathered thousands of students from all of our local high schools. And then that march turned into something even bigger, and they went to Washington, D.C. and marched on D.C. for gun rights. And this is and was led by Molly, who wouldn't look me in the eye. And so I say that story for you today because I want you to see that there's hope. But I also want you to know that left alone, social anxiety usually gets worse. Girls don't just magically snap out of it. That is a myth. We can talk, and I will in another Facebook Live, about why social anxiety tends to arise anyway, but girls don't snap out of it. They need the right tools at the right time. And by the right time, I mean that they need to be ready for it. There's a whole host of girls out there, and probably some of them are yours, that just aren't quite ready for help. They're not uncomfortable enough yet, and they'll get there. And you just, as parents, just love them and support them until they come to you and they say, I really want some help. Because those are the girls that can make change quickly and get out of that position that they're in. Yeah, it's amazing. So anyway, I want to reiterate what I said, is that there is hope. I could give you case study after case study as to how we do it, but I just honor you for being here, and I thank you for being gracious with me as I get used to this whole Facebook Live thing and reaching out into a virtual world, because I know in my heart that there are so many girls out there struggling with social anxiety that I can't just sit by and work with the girls in my beautiful little community any longer. That my purpose is to be here and help your daughters as well. So if anything that I've said has sparked interest or curiosity with you today, or if you would just like to get on a phone and chat more with me and tell me about your daughter, I welcome that. If you're not quite ready for that, private message me or ask a question on this feed. I think you can do that. And I'll be sure to get back to you. But I invite you to book a call with me and just spend a couple of minutes on the phone talking to me about your daughter and about the challenges she's facing. And if she's ready, you'd be amazed at what we can do in just a short time. So underneath the link I'm about to click, you're going to find a way to book a call with me, and we'll make it simple. Otherwise, I will see you on my next Facebook Live, which will be sometime later this week. And I'm open to your ideas about what our topics are going to be, and I'm really excited to be doing this work here with you. So tell your friends. One thing with parents is I find that once they start talking about the fact that their child struggles with social anxiety or social shyness or just awkwardness in general, is that if you start talking to your friends and your family members about it, you're going to realize that you're not alone. So there's so many other parents out there who are looking for answers for their children. So share our group with them, or just open up to them about what you're going through, because parenting is tough. I'm raising a 9-year-old now who struggles with severe anxiety in a different way, but it just has taught me how tough it is, and I think it's been an important lesson for me from a parenting perspective. So again, I'm Jamie. I'm here because life was terrible as a teenager, but it's so good now, and I thank you for listening to me. Okay, I'm not sure how to get off, but I'm going to end now, and I look forward to talking to you soon.